Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you here today. If you will, like, share, comment on the post, and then if you choose to, we will be in the book of First Peter, chapter 1, beginning in verse 22, and a great passage on loving each other. We all recognize First Corinthians 13 and its great words on love. Here, Peter shares some as well about our love for each other. He says, having purified your souls by your obedience to the truth for a sincere brotherly love, love one another earnestly from a pure heart. Since you have been born again, not of perishable seed, but of imperishable, through the living and abiding Word of God. For all flesh is like grass, and all its glory like the flower of grass. The grass withers and the flower falls, but the word of the Lord remains forever. And this word is the good news that was preached to you. Again, he's writing about love, which some have argued is the greatest force, the greatest power on earth. And it is amazing what someone will do, what people will do for those that they love. They'll run back into burning buildings. They will, dive into dark waters. They will give up kidneys. They will, it's amazing what someone will do for someone who loves each other. And many times the kinds of love I just described are in family. But Peter here is saying that we ought to have that kind of love among believers, that believers should love each other with a special, deep type of love, the same type of love that God has loved us with. And that's what he bases this on, is we should love each other because we have been loved. He says, you have purified your souls by obedience to truth. Because you have been saved. He says it again in verse 23. He says, since you have been born again. And so everything Peter is saying here about loving each other is based on the fact that we understand, we realize that we have been loved by God, that we have been born again, that we have a new nature in us, not of perishable seed, but imperishable seed, that we have been transformed by the Word of God, that Word that remains forever. And because of that, then we have this new love for others, for other believers. We have a love for those that are not believers because we want to see them come into the family. And I've talked about this at various times, and I don't know how to explain it, and I don't know that anybody that hasn't experienced it can understand it. But 20 years ago now, when we were going through the process of adopting Tinsy, I can't explain it, but I'd never seen her, didn't know where she didn't know who she was, didn't know what she looked like, didn't know anything about her. But once Rhonda and I had made that commitment and felt led by the Lord and made that commitment to adopt, we didn't know where she was in China, didn't even know she was even born yet when we started the process. But and this is not new to me. This is a saying I heard from someone else who went through the process. Said, at that moment, I had a child in my heart. It was different. Never saw her, but I knew she was there, and I loved her. Peter is saying here, I think that we love each other, but not just each other, other Christians, but we look at others around us as potential members of the family, of those who need to know Christ and who need to be part of the family of God. And love, he's saying again, I think requires action, that it causes us to act differently, to live differently, to do things differently, because we recognize and realize again that God has loved us. And because he loved us, we love others. You think about that today. All right? Have a great one. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.